shared that one tip. I was on a tip with my partner, youngin' with BTY, and he was like, look, just let it out. So once I shared my tip, I took my lick and I moved forward.
And so you hear life and you actually get life. What was going through your mind?
I walked out the courtroom laughing like, man, this crazy. Like, I know he didn't just give me no life. And once I got to Angola, got that rap sheet that had the 4 letters on it. I'm like, this serious. They meant what they said, you hear me? I was thinking about that whole ride to Angola, you hear me? Like, I don't really got life. And sparking like they rather me dead. Block talking, not a cop stalking like niggas rather me cage. Lord knows my I'd rather be saved. The way the streets left me traumatized, dealing with insanity ways. Kendrick spitting about the vanity slave. Interrogation, he was making statements talking about them hammers I blaze. Straight savage, I ain't meant to behave. I'm from the jungle where the wild rumble killing over minimum wage. Most rappers again spit too violent. Knowing they ain't about violence. Catch a body, knowing he ain't too solid. No brainer with the senseless violence. And if I spit that knowledge, just watch him like the sense ain't common. What's up, man? You already know J Murkk in here. We rocking with Video Wayne, you hear me? Showtime at the Apollo.
Where you from, bro? What city and area?
I'm from New Orleans, man. That's 7 Wall, St. Bernard Project. It was rough. It was a struggle, you hear me? We all go through that, you know what I'm saying? Poverty, Section 8 housing, you already know it.
Have you ever been arrested? Yeah,
I've been in jail when I was 13. A robbery. Charged me with some a murder that took place. Well, they ain't charged me, the shit was dismissed, whatever, but, I was like a person of interest to the shit. Some took place in the area where I was at, and they came for me about it, you hear me? So I wound up going to jail for all that shit. And they wound up throwing that shit out.
Okay, and let's back up a little bit. But there was a DA, not a DA, but
a detective.
It was a detective.
Yeah, see, she was a detective on another case, you hear me? Once I came home off that charge, it's like she was just hounding me, you hear me? Like, any little murders, attempt murders, drive-by shooting, whatever, anything, dealing with shooting shit, she's saying my name coming up. And I'm like, I don't even hang in these areas, I don't love my name coming up. But all that shit was just a personal vendetta from me walking on a case that you try to put me on, you hear me? I used to be running from her and everything, like she chasing me. She pulling up at my house, talking about she got calls of illegal discharge of a firearm and shit. And you're a homicide detective. You only called out when a murder take place, you hear me? So,
Damn, you was 15, she was on you like that.
And she was on me, you hear me? They had a little situation at my mama's house. We was living in Bunker Hill. My brother-in-law was in there, he playing with the gun and all that. Boom, the gun go off. And a bullet went through the neighbor wall. They called the police. All the police come in that bitch. All them talking to my people, my brothers and them, they like, man, they can't do GSR on me because I was a juvenile, and they had a little detective in that bitch. And he was like, man, your face looks so familiar, you been to jail before? I'm like, no, I ain't never been to jail, you hear me? He like, you sure? I'm like, man, I'm positive. So if I run your name, I'm like, man, I'm good, you hear me? I ain't never been to jail, I'm straight. And another police was like, man, yeah, he the one from, the with the Skyview when he went to jail in Skyview for the that we charged him with before. He was like, oh yeah, you did went to jail. You was the one that they charged with the murder. I'm like, man, look, I ain't do that shit, you hear me? So he was like, man, what happened with that case? I'm like, I'm right here in front of you.
Can we talk about what led to the arrest and everything?
Me and my partners, you hear me? We went on a lick, you hear me? Okay. We were trying to go rob some people. I was some, money and guns, and the shit turned out bad, you hear me? Turned out that the people's security guards, Air Force officers and shit, and it turned into a shootout, you hear me? So, it was a shootout. My little partner wound up dying from a ricochet bullet, one of the bullets bouncing off something and hitting him in the chest. And that's how he died. And, like a week later, the people come got me, charged me with this shit, whatever. They get out with me, told on, man. So, that's what took place with that situation.
And so you arrested and you waiting trial and everything, right? What was going on then? You were in the parish?
Yeah, I was in the parish.
Okay, what was it parish like?
And the parish was hectic. When I say hectic, that bitch was hectic, you hear me? I'm talking they get jugged up left and right, you hear me? I was on a juvenile tip for like 2-3 years, you hear me? Top me like 17, 18, and I wound up signing the paper going into adult population. And that's when I went to seeing all type of crazy shit taking place.
Total difference.
Right, like it was different from the shit seeing on a juvenile tip. just fighting a lot. You hear me? This buku 15, 16, 17-year-old, you know, all we doing is fighting a lot. You hear me? So once I got into adult population, that's when it was time to pick the knives up. You hear me? Because shit was critical. You hear me? So yeah, it was rough.
You get a trial, right? You
right.
Go on trial. Did you have any idea that you may be getting life?
I mean, after I got found guilty, you know, once I was convicted, you know, I wound up asking my lawyer what I'm facing. You hear me? He like, well, we're gonna try to push for the minimum. The minimum was, you know, life with parole after 35 years. You hear me? So I was like, damn, dog. Like I ain't never been on trial for no murders. I ain't know what the fuck they expect. You hear me? So yeah, that was a difficult time for me.
What was going through your mind? What were you feeling, bro, at that time?
I mean, really, I was cool, really, you hear me? Really just trying to see how everything gonna play out and, you know, see if the real facts was gonna come to light. You know, like I said, the charge was, you know, my best friend, you hear me? So, you know, his mom and him was pushing the issue, you know, like, man, I want him to get life. Like, I don't give a what other charges he got. I want justice for my son, you hear me? So, yeah,
that was your friend, though.
Right.
And so you hear life and you actually get life. What was going through your mind?
Man, when them people sentenced me, I ain't even gonna lie, like, I walked out the courtroom laughing like, man, this shit crazy. Like, I know he didn't just give me no life. I said, man, this shit not real here. Maybe he just with me and I gotta come back and get another sound. He ain't about to give me no life. They don't even feel right for me to have no life. It ain't sound right to me. And once I got to Angola, got that rap sheet, and that bitch had them 4 letters on it. I'm like, this shit serious. They meant what they said, you hear me? I was thinking about that whole ride to Angola, you hear me? Like, damn, like, I don't really got life. The only thing that I could say that I liked about Angola, as far as me doing my time, that bitch was bust open. It's a lot of freedom, you hear me? So,
like a big ass city in it.
That bitch a big ass city. I'm talking about you dress how you want. Well, you know, the people to be like, I don't know, what the fuck you think you at? You dressing like you about to go to the BET Awards and all that. Like skinny jeans and you got shoes that just came out last week. You been up here. How the fuck you get them, you hear me?
Boosie.
Yeah.
Boosie was in Angola.
Yeah, I went up there with him. You know, Boosie had wound up, you know, getting released like 2 years before I made it up there. You hear me? I still was in the parish on A4 when Boosie went home.
Was there any truth to Boosie being on PC that you know of?
I mean, not that I know of. You know, I didn't hear stories, you know, due to the fact of his celebrity status and, you know, people just ain't want him, you know, around certain motherfuckers, you hear me? So sometimes the people just put you on that shit involuntarily, you hear me? And you know, be bucking like, you don't want to be on this shit, you got us locked down all day. They're trying to go down a walk, you know, go in population and, you know, do their thing. People like, man, no, you gonna stay in the cell, you hear me? If you don't maximum security, PC, yeah, you gonna be locked down in that dungeon or whatever, you hear me?
Because of who he is, he could create a situation.
Right.
Somebody could try to rob him or do him something, anything.
I mean, you know, anything is possible in Angola, you hear me?
What Telly like back then?
Man, Telly quiet. Like, he a laid back dude, you hear me? Like, from the that I used to hear about Telly, when I first seen him, I'm thinking Telly was gonna be a big old tall, you know, he already got the beard, the big old face, who looking at him on the picture, you would think he a big old, you hear me? And Telly not too, he not that much taller than me, you hear me? Like, you know, he stay out the way, he don't fuck nobody, stay out the people way. All Telly do is work out all day, you hear me?
You on the weights?
Yeah, like, you know, we used to go in the gym, you know, when me and C Murkk used to be in there balling, you know, me, my partner T7, you know, we'll go with Telly Hankton, you know, go working out with him and shit.
At what point did you realize I could be going home?
I really ain't know I was going home. Like, I used to be talking to my lawyer. They was saying, you know, court dates and shit. Like, you know, we gonna set some shit up, trying to get you back in court. Once I got back in court, you know, I was just like telling my lawyer, man, look, throw these numbers out. This what I'm willing to take, you hear me? I don't want to do no more time. I'm ready to go home, you hear me? So, they were like, man, look, we gonna see what we could do. Holler at the DA, bring up all the, you know, claims and the facts and shit of the case, and after that, we gonna see how they gonna play it, you hear me? And, you know, that day I woke up, I wound up going to court. They took all my time back and resentenced me to 14 years, you hear me? Credit for time served. I come home 2 years parole, you hear me?
And so you've been home now?
I've been home now like, what? What's the date, the 12th? I've been home like 12 days now, you hear me?
And altogether, you did how much time?
I did 12 flat. Hard time.